Shut up and sit down.
Hello, Phantoms fans. Welcome to the Dump and Chase podcast. I'm Sam Olmstead.
And I'm Justin Irwin.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Dump and Chase podcast. We have a lot to get to in this show. We go over last week's slate of games, talk about the Phantoms holiday party for season ticket members that I just got home from a couple hours ago, and we do our first ever fan Q&A. My name is Sam Olmstead, and with me as always, well, how can I put this? Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Stop it.
You're everything I would like to be.
Please stop.
I can fly higher than an eagle.
I'm begging you.
For you are the wind beneath my wings.
God, please take me now.
You know what? You were right last week. If I do something nice, it's a little creepy, but hey.
Well, I think we've gone way past that into cringeworthy.
Yeah, we may have jumped the shark right there, but...
If not, Fonzie's got his skis on and is taking a warm-up lap.
All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in. 3 games last week, wrapped around the Thanksgiving holiday. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I got sick over the weekend. It wasn't from Thanksgiving, or the food or anything like that, but I was sick over the weekend. And now, by the sounds of it, before we started recording, Justin has picked up something, so it's a great way to spend the holidays, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm just it's more fatigue, but knock on wood, I'll be fine.
Well, I don't have wood. I have particle board, but...
I have my head, that's about it.
There you go. All right, so last Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, Youngstown traveled to Plymouth because, once again, apparently no other team in the United States Hockey League exists right now, and we just keep playing Team USA. The game started out a lot like the last time the under-18s came to the Cavelli Center a couple weeks ago. Team USA jumped out to a 3-0 lead. The second period, Youngstown scored 3 goals to get back into the game. You had Trevor Kuntar, his 12th of the season, on the power play, Nikolai Jensen, his 2nd of the season, and John Beaton, his 8th. USA would get another goal. At the end of the second period, they were up 4-3. USA would tack on 2 more goals in the third for a 6-3 final. So same start to the game, same end of the game, just the scores reversed. Shots on goal, USA 40, Youngstown 29. Both teams 1 for 5 on the power play. Now, you were actually up in Plymouth for the game. I could not listen to nor watch the game, so this one is all on you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty typical game. We were actually in it there for quite a while late. They just came on a little bit stronger in the third period and ran up the points there, so not a bad game, but still a loss. Come back home, eat some turkey. Take out our frustration on Wisconsin teams.
So moving on to Friday, the game with Green Bay up in Green Bay was a game I actually got to watch thanks to Hockey TV and their Black Friday deal, $7.99 for a 1-month access to Hockey TV, which actually worked out pretty well since the Phantoms were on the road this entire month. So that was actually a very well-timed deal for Youngstown fans that I fully took advantage of. Very tight game, very defensive game with Green Bay. No score through 2 periods. It wasn't until 6:27 of the third when Trevor Kuntar on the power play, his 13th of the season, put the Phantoms up 1-0. That ended up being all that they needed. Dominic Bassi got the shutout, 34 for 34 as far as shots on goal, but definitely not a Phantom, but should also be mentioned, was Nicholas Grabko, the goaltender for Green Bay, stopped 28 of 29. It was just a very well-played game by both of those goalies. And of course, a little side note for those of you who didn't see it, the Green Bay fans kind of had a little bar area, kind of like what you see at the Cavelli Center, where you have tables set up next to the glass, I'm sure like drink specials and stuff like that. Some of the fans were building a cup pyramid on the boards. Because even though this really, really great defensive hockey game was being played in front of them, instead of watching it, they decided to build a cup pyramid, which Trevor Kuntar took it upon himself after scoring his goal to skate all the way across the ice, ram into the glass, knocking the cup pyramid over. You see the fans very angry about it, picking up cups off the ground and throwing them at the glass. Just, you know what? When things are going good, and it's not happening to you. It's so much fun to watch, but very, very nice awareness by Trevor there to see that. Shots on goal for that game, Green Bay 34, Youngstown 29. Youngstown was 1 for 7 on the power play. Green Bay was 0 for 4. To sit and watch, to actually be there and watch a game, it can get a little boring, especially, no score until, almost midway through the third period. But I mean, sitting there watching and being able to take in the whole of it on TV, that was just an incredible defensive game by both teams.
Yeah. Again, you nailed it. Both goaltenders deserve a stick tap on that one. Trevor Kuntar he got the lucky bounce there. Well, the bounce off the crossbar down and in. Yeah, kind of reminded me of the early 2000s hockey, like Ken Hitchcock, Dallas Stars. You take advantage of the one chance you get and sit back and protect your netminder. Bassey earned a big shutout there, a couple of really great saves.
So moving on to the third game in 4 days for the Phantoms, that would be the Saturday game against Madison. Maybe a little bit of a revenge factor. Madison has by far been the worst team in the league this season. The Phantoms played at Madison in their home opener back at the end of September, beginning of October, somewhere in there. Madison ended up getting the win in overtime 6-5, so maybe a little bit of a revenge factor. Madison's points have been few and far between, but a couple of those came from us. So after the first period, the Phantoms are up 2-1. Aiden Gallagher, his 4th of the season, and Georgi Merkulov, his 2nd on the power play, which I thought was pretty cool right there. This kid just came in, and he's already getting points on the power play. So, I mean, that's something you really love to see from a kid coming in. Each team with 2 goals in the second period, 4-3, the score after 2. Jacob Felker, his 1st of the season, and Jan Kern, his 2nd of the season. So right there, you have guys that not normally are putting the puck in the net, getting goals, which is another thing you love to see. The Phantoms would tack on 2 more goals in the third period. Jensen, his 3rd of the season on the power play, and John Beaton, his 9th. That was an empty net goal. So the Phantoms win 6-4. Madison shots on goal 40, Youngstown 34. And pretty much the big topic of this game, Youngstown 2 for 11 on the power play, Madison 1 for 6. To say this game was chippy would be to say that, Alaska is, slightly bitter in the winter.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're Madison. It is not a good season. You've known this coming in. A team that you've beat before is getting a little bit of revenge on you. Yeah, you take a bunch of bad penalties. Make sure they get the other team gets the win. We've done it in the past, so can't really point a finger. But another nice thing is, a couple of the goals. Gallagher got one. Another guy who doesn't score a lot, Nikolai Jensen, got his 3rd.
All in all, Jensen had a good weekend, so it's you hope that's a start as far as point production as a turnaround for him. But definitely had a good weekend. Trevor Kuntar had a good weekend, but he hasn't really had many bad ones this season, so pretty par for the course for him. Speaking of Trevor Kuntar, as we've said on here before, I'm sure everybody knows by now, Trevor Kuntar was named to the World Junior A Challenge USA team, so he will be gone for the next couple weeks. He will not be with the Phantoms. He'll be with Team USA for the tournament up in Dawson Creek, British Columbia. Yes, that is the name of the place, Dawson Creek, British Columbia. All right, now do you want to see me do a neat little trick here? I'm going to do a little circle. You have Dawson's Creek, which starred Joshua Jackson, who played Pacey. Joshua Jackson also played Charlie Conway in The Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks is a movie about a hockey team. So there we go, circle it around, right back to hockey. I don't know, 3 degrees of I'm very bored.
Somebody's been running the stats way too much.
Yeah, that's when you sit and look at numbers trying to come up with stuff all the time, it's my brain goes to places that most people would not venture. But yeah. But yeah, definitely good luck to Trevor Kuntar the next week or so up there. It was announced, I believe this past Sunday, Matt Cassidy has signed his national letter of intent with Ohio State, so another Phantom going to the Buckeyes, which being an Ohio State fan, love seeing it. And something we kind of suspected, especially with additions and everything else, Zach Nazarette was dropped by the team, I believe, before the weekend. Well, it may have been sometime last week. Don't know exactly for sure. I hadn't seen him on the rosters for a little bit, but as we talked about before, there's going to be roster moves to be made, and you hate to see these kids go, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
So yeah, not sure where he's landed, if any place. I haven't seen him show up on any transactions, so I'll keep people posted if I see anything on that. Maybe not the guy I would have expected to be cut, but there's probably a lot of different reasons.
So tonight, the Phantoms had their annual season ticket holder holiday party. We got to go out, skate with the team on the ice at the Cavelli Center, had like a little bit of a dinner afterwards. Got, getting to talk to the team, skate around with the team. I'll tell you what, it definitely was a lot of fun. I haven't gone to one yet. This was my first one. I was really glad I went. Just a few kind of highlights that come to mind. I got the opportunity to talk to John Larkin for a little bit on the ice. Really great kid, was very easy to talk to. Yeah, it was just a great conversation with him. It was going really well up until the point somebody came up next to me and outed me, asking John if he or any of the team listened to the podcast, basically stating that I am one of the guys on the podcast, which I didn't want to go there, skating around with a sign saying this is what I do, just, wanted to go have fun. I instantly became very aware of my surroundings, because if the team did listen to it and had any issues, I'm on the ice where I'm not what you would call a strong skater, surrounded by many kids in Phantoms jerseys who are, and I'm thinking there's no way I can outrun them if this goes bad. Luckily, that ended well. I left the ice on one piece, didn't fall once. Yeah, you had Josh DeLuca, Bradley Merrick kind of skating around, putting on these dance performances for kids. Before going to this, if you would have asked me, who do I think the best dancer on the team is, no offense to Josh, but I don't think I would have guessed Josh DeLuca.
Yeah, I'm not sure who I would pick.
He plays a gritty game. He plays a tough game. It kind of took me by surprise, but you know what? The kids were loving it. There towards the end, very sweet moment. Got to see Coach Patterson out on the ice. He brought his baby daughter out with him, skated a few laps around the ice with her. That was very cool to see. I would have no confidence in my skating abilities to skate any one of my kids around the ice, so...
as good as skating the cup around, so yeah.
I'm glad he has the ability to do that, because there's no way I could. But very cool, very sweet moment to see.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go, so, I kind of regret missing something like that. It would have been, kind of one of those neat moments to snap a picture.
It's one of those things that brings you back to, there comes aspects week in and week out that, where we might criticize the team, we might criticize players, coaching strategy, but, we recognize first and foremost that these are all human beings. They, have a lot going for them outside of the hockey rink. So to see something like that tonight, that was really awesome to see. I'm really glad I got to see that. Also got to talk to Ben Schoen for a little bit. Hopefully nobody's forgot that name. I don't think we've brought it up too much on here lately. Yeah, got to talk to Ben Schoen. He's in very high spirits. He's actually very close to a return. Would you say the early end of the timetable we kind of discussed before?
Yeah. I mean, we got to kind of be careful here what we let out. We don't want to give anything, away or make any sort of speculation that might cause a problem. But yeah, he's definitely within the time frame that, we were given, and on the early part of that. So, that's really good. Obviously don't want to rush it, but you want him back on the ice. He's on the NHL scouting report, so, he's got to kind of think about, getting back out there, getting some notice, and especially missing these Team USA games. So
yeah. But it was really awesome to get to talk to him. Another great kid. And I mean, in all honesty, every player I've gotten to talk to over the past 4 years, I haven't met a bad one. So I might be just kind of repeating myself when I say that. But I mean, just great kids all around. But it was really awesome to get to talk to Ben. He's very excited to return. He's ready for it. But just great job by the Phantoms. It was really a lot of fun being there. getting to, hang out with other season ticket members, get to hang out with the team, get to see everybody kind of let loose a little bit and kind of maybe forget about hockey for a little bit and, just get to be human beings. And it was a lot of fun. So another thing I did while I was there, I didn't get to be as expansive with this as I did, but I think we got a good bit to go on here. We wanted to do a fan Q&A, so I took my little voice recorder on my phone, went around and got a few questions here from some fans, and we're just going to jump right into this here, and this first question will come from Raylyn.
My name is Raylyn, and my question is, what made you want to start doing this podcast?
Alrighty, well, thank you, Raylyn, for that question. That's something we've gone over in 2 episodes now, I believe. Something that we wanted to collaborate on, something we wanted to do together. Although, after the intro of this episode, I'm betting you're wondering at this point why you even agreed to this to begin with.
Yeah, well, I had already been doing the blog thing, so this was a natural progression, or at least that's what I thought at the time.
Now, I'll go a little bit deeper into this, maybe some of more my personal reasoning, so we're not really giving the same answer 3 times on the show. A lot of me wanting to do this podcast came from my father. My dad, Bob, actually passed away this past February 10th, for those of you who didn't know. He spent a lot of time years ago. He was a DJ at an AM radio station that was located in Calcutta a long time ago, WOHI. He did some work there. He was also a DJ for the KB Roller Arena, which if you grew up, in Columbiana County, especially, the old timers, basically, that is a place you definitely remember. And a lot of people back then in the 60s, 70s, 80s spend a lot of their childhood. It was something whenever he talked about it, it was always something, he always made it sound so exciting, to be able to do that kind of work. And then, back in 2011, I think it was, I decided to go back to school. I went for radio broadcasting a lot, in big part because of him. I did these online courses for almost a year, and I would do these weekly assignments, and the culmination of it every week was I had to do a 2-hour radio show. It would stream online. The only person listening would be my instructor. And then, I would get graded on it and everything. Well, my dad and my mom both insisted they wanted to listen to these shows each week. So, I set up the streaming link for them, and every single week I did a show. My mom and my dad listened in. After, I graduated, the goal was to go into radio. Other events in my life that kind of took place at the time really didn't allow me the time to do that. So I had to kind of go another way. So, when the idea of this podcast came up, it was something I was very excited about. It was like, maybe this is, my way to finally be able to do all of this. Unfortunately, my dad passed away before the podcast started, so he never got to hear it. So, I mean, I'm sure he's still listening, taking notes on everything I'm doing wrong, and at some point will, find a way to get those notes to me. But, no, for me, personally for me, that was my reasoning for why I wanted to do the podcast. So the next question will come from Kyrie, who is Raylyn's sister, and this is Kyrie's question.
My name is Kyrie, and my question is, what is your favorite NHL team and why?
Okay, well, the first part of that question, thank you, Kyrie. The first part of that question is pretty simple for the both of us. We both have our favorite NHL team is the same. That would be the Penguins.
Yeah, definitely a resounding Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Yes. As to the why, my older brother was a Penguins fan. When I was young and didn't know any better, I was basically sat down and taught, you will root for the Penguins, you will root for the Pirates, you will root for the Steelers. But funny enough, when it comes to college, you root for Ohio State, not, I don't know how that flip happened, but yeah, so, it was basically what I was brought up with. Now, granted, with Super Bowl titles, with Stanley Cups, I haven't grown up disappointed in this decision, so it's actually worked out very well. But yeah, basically, same as a lot of people, just family pressure. This is who you will root for, and that's the end of the story. Okay, so Justin, as far as you, can you put a why as to why you are a Penguins fan?
I mean, I didn't really have the whole family pushing me. I mean, I have Browns fans are, the predominant part of my family. I grew up a Browns fan for football. Always was kind of a hockey fan. Cleveland didn't have a NHL team. Yeah, Pittsburgh was the next closest place. Actually, my mom was more, I think, kind of a Red Wings fan at the time. But, it's whatever you could catch a game of at the time. So Pittsburgh was the closest team, what you got to see the most of. Yeah, the couple of Stanley Cups in the early 90s helped that a lot. I don't know, and just a lot of the personality players that came after, Big shout out to Ian Moran.
Actually, you know what? It just popped into my head. I'll tell. Since you mentioned the early cups, when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup in '91, when they won their first cup, I was 7 years old at the time, not quite 8. I was in bed, and I remember my mom coming into the bedroom and saying to me, "The Penguins are about to win the Stanley Cup. Do you want to come watch?" I knew nothing about hockey at this point. What she said might as well have been like Chinese. I just did not understand what she was saying as English. So I said nope, and I rolled over and went back to bed. The next season, when they won their second cup, it was the same thing. I was in bed. My mom came into my room, said the Penguins are about to win the Stanley Cup again. Do you want to come in and watch? Again, I had no clue what she was talking about. I said nope, and I rolled over and went back to bed. It wasn't until the 92-93 season when I finally started watching hockey and learning about hockey. And that was, if you remember, the team that was destined to go to the Stanley Cup, win 3 in a row, and then got knocked out in the playoffs by the Islanders. And I just kind of remember sitting there like, well, this sucks. This isn't what everybody told me it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I really feel for you there. You were set up at that point, though. You were really getting set up for the next decade or so of what was to come. So I mean,
yeah,
I was already, I'm a little bit older, so yeah, 91, 14, 15, I can't remember.
getting ready to collect your pension.
Yeah. So I was kind of happy, and we got 2 good years, and then we were going to three-peat, and there were some things happened, and the Islanders, not the biggest disappointment as a Penguins fan I can remember, but that was a rough one.
Yeah, thank you, Kyrie, for that. That memory just kind of popped back into my head there as you were talking. So I'm actually very glad I remembered that. Okay, so moving on to the next question. It is our friend Carrie, friend of the podcast, has been very supportive of us. Very grateful for that. And this is her question.
My name is Carrie. My question is, could you have ever foreseen Kyle Connor's rise to greatness?
Okay, thank you, Carrie. As far as Kyle Connor, that was actually, this is my 4th season of being a season ticket member. I kind of went to a smattering of games before that, but I didn't know who any of the players were. I just kind of watched a hockey game. I didn't know who anybody was. I remember Colin DeAugustine. I can't say I remember Kyle Connor, knew who he was on the ice. That probably, Justin, that would be more you. You saw him a lot more back then. I never really got to see him with the Phantoms.
Yeah, my first season as my first year as a season ticket holder was the season he tendered. I want to preface everything by mentioning that he was actually granted a waiver to play at 15, so he was always expected to be, a star player. Did we foresee him, becoming a high-end scorer in the NHL? Yeah. For me, as you saw him develop. The last season he was in the league, he was just a dominant player. Had a good supporting team, but if you needed a goal, he could take over the game. So it's really one of those rare talents. He could turn it up, turn the burners on, and One thing I can remember, and I'll put it up on the video if I can find the clip. It was a shorthanded goal against Fargo. He just got the puck. He had started bringing it up ice, and he went wide around a defenseman, just walked around, threw this little backhander past the goalie, and it was, a walk in the park for him. And you just looked and said, you're going to see that at the NHL level. He's going to, he's going to do this throughout his career. And that's what's happened.
I agree with everything you say. I don't know. I'm so in the dark on this question because I never really got to see. I mean, I've seen him play several games in the NHL now. And imagine, as good as he was, as good as he is now, how good was he then? And, but yeah, just completely in the dark for me. So we'll move on to our last question. This is from Edgar. If that is your real name, it's not, it's Mike. Or we could call him Gropey. This is the first time Justin will be hearing this story. And I'm sure Mike's going to kill me for telling this, but hey, we need the views. So basically, we're leaving the Cavelli Center tonight, and as we were heading out the door, Mike very lovingly kind of went to grab his wife by the hips to kind of nudge her out the door so they could get going. The only problem was he was not paying attention, and it was my hips he grabbed a hold of to gently nudge out the door, creating a very awkward scenario there for a few seconds. I don't know if I'm not coming off very well in any of this, but he does have a very gentle touch. I will give him that, but apparently his aim not so much. Yeah, went to push her out the door and got me instead. But anyways, this is his question.
My name is Edgar, and I would like to know if either of you foresee another Kyle Connor in our future.
All right, thank you, Mike, parentheses, Edgar, close parentheses. Who could be the next Kyle? I don't know. I want to say, and no disrespect to anybody on the team, but Kyle Connor was one of those rare players that don't come along very often. I mean, to me, I would say Ben Schoen, maybe not the total point production, definitely hockey IQ. What I see Kyle Connor do in the NHL and what I've gotten to see Ben Schoen do at the Cavelli Center, I see a lot of similarities. So I maybe in that respect of hockey IQ, I would say Ben Schoen. What about you?
I'm going to take Trevor Kuntar on that. Just he's got kind of that flash where he can turn it up, kind of take over a game. But again, I'm with you, and there's really nobody that we've seen in quite a while that's, I think, going to compare to Kyle Connor in a lot of respects. And I don't really like to do that whole, who's the next this, who's the next that. A lot of guys are, excel in different areas. So,
all right. Well, thank you to those four for the questions. This is definitely something we want to do in the future. If anybody else wants to get a question in, you can get a hold of us on social media. You can put it in the comments. If we get enough together, we'll throw another one of these together. So looking at this upcoming weekend, we get the Phantoms for one day in December. It is this Friday. Once again, the under 18s. My God, is there... I am so sick, and I am not one bit sick about talking about the Phantoms every single week. I am so sick and tired of talking about Team USA.
Yeah, get used to it.
It's again, Central Illinois leaves. That's a team that was geographically close to us. They're gone. So it's just kind of tacking on these games with Team USA, 2 more than we had last year. Yeah, so this Friday, please make note, it is a 7:30 start time. Typically, it's a 7:05 start time. This Friday, it is a 7:30 puck drop. Of course, Friday night in Youngstown, you have the tree lighting, you have the holiday parade, you have all the festivities going on around the city. Seems like everything's kind of getting pushed towards the Cavelli Center as the night goes on. So hopefully see a nice big crowd at the Cavelli Center on Friday before the team takes off again and we don't see them until January 3rd. There is a toy drive going on. So definitely, if you're able to, a new, unopened toy, if you can bring one to the game to be donated. A few other things will be going on promotional-wise. And it seems like, we had a pretty good crowd the last time the under-18s came down to the Cavelli Center, and it really seemed to drive the team. So I definitely would love to see that again this Friday.
Yeah. Our attendance has been up, and this is the last game of the year. So, be really great to end the year going into 2020 with, a way, way better average attendance.
I wrote the numbers down, but I don't have them with me. Just a kind of a generalization. Last year through the Phantoms so far have played 9 home games this season. Through the first 9 home games of last season, the Phantoms were averaging middling between like 700 and 800 per game. Only 2 of those games, there was over 1,000 people at the game. Everything else was below. This season, through the first 9 games, Phantoms are averaging almost 1,400 a game. And there have only been 2 games that were under 1,000 people at the game. So definitely the Phantoms at the Cavelli Center, it's really starting to turn around, really starting to become a place people want to be on Friday and Saturday nights. So big props to Andrew Goldman, the team there. Another guy I got to chat with tonight. If you ever get the chance to talk to Andrew Goldman, he's always walking around the concourse talking to people. If you ever get the chance to talk to him, the Phantoms team president, make it a point to. Just a really great guy. We're really lucky to have him. And we are not being paid to say this at all. It is, completely genuine from us. Just a terrific guy. And as far as the attendance and things like that, are really getting things turned around for the better for the team.
Yeah. Really easily approachable person too. So don't hesitate because you think, he's the team president. One of the easiest guys in the arena to talk to.
And then Saturday, Phantoms are back on the road and they're going to, you guessed it, Plymouth. right back up to Michigan, facing the U18s again. 7:05 start time for that game. If anybody jumped on the Hockey TV Black Friday special, you'll be able to watch it on there because they don't stream the games or anything like that. Yeah, I'm just so sick of of Team USA right now.
Welcome to my world.
Youngstown, Team USA, 14 other teams in the league, but somehow we keep talking about Team USA every week.
Yeah.
All right.
And if we're not playing them, they'll find some way. It's the Golden Boys, so yeah.
All right, and that will wrap up this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening along. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the notification bell and get updated instantly when a new episode is uploaded. Give us a like, drop a comment below. Our social media links are in the description. You can also check us out on ohiohockeydigest.com. There are links there to everything we do, from the podcast to the articles on hockeyfan.com. So thank you again for listening, and we will talk with you soon.
I have nothing witty to add.
You don't want to sing to me?
I got you, babe. Dun, 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 dun. I got you, babe.